Hey guys, Roman and Reaper here. So I just got done watching Guy Ritchie's The Covenant on Prime Video. Finally came out here in the UK a few days ago. Big win because I was really looking forward to this. I do enjoy Guy Ritchie's films, they are generally a lot of fun. And the trailer for this looked really interesting, promising a bit more of a serious offering than you'd expect from Guy Ritchie. Even with his recent shift in the last few years to being a bit more of a straight action filmmaker. Just, I do generally enjoy it when filmmakers decide to go against type and, make a film, they otherwise wouldn't have normally made. But does Guy Ritchie deliver on this serious promise? Let's find out. So the film follows Major Sergeant John Kinley, a US soldier stationed in Afghanistan who develops a bond with local interpreter Ahmed. When a mission to an IED factory goes wrong, John ends up being wounded, and Ahmed has to carry him through Taliban occupied territory. John is honorably discharged, and Ahmed, however, instead of being granted a special visa to America, instead becomes one of the top 10 wanted men in Afghanistan hunted by the Taliban. And so John, racked with guilt about this, heads back to Afghanistan, putting his life at risk to get Ahmed and his family safely to America. So something that surprised me about this film is how impressively restrained Guy Ritchie is. Like, don't get me wrong, there are flourishes of his here, such as the banter between the soldiers early on, and even like little title cards that pop up to, establish who everybody is and quite quickly explain military jargon. But by and large, this is an incredibly restrained and mature Guy Ritchie, and the film is all the better for it. I really, really enjoyed this film. And, Guy Ritchie is obviously aware of the kind of weight that this kind of material absolutely needs. At its heart, this is a film that acknowledges the work that these Afghan interpreters do and also the risk that comes to them with being hunted by the Taliban. And it's that sort of through line that makes the film feel that bit more potent, and even with the thrilling action scenes, it's that emotional core that will stay with you. And it's this emotional core that is sold wonderfully by the central pairing of Jake Gyllenhaal as John Kinley and Dar Salim as Ahmed. Jake Gyllenhaal, as you'd expect, is magnetic, and I really enjoyed how they explored his guilt in regards to his situation. He believes that Ahmed should be the one living comfortably with his family and kissing his kids goodbye as they go to school every morning, not him. And Jake Gyllenhaal does it so well. And yes, a mirror does get smashed, so you know it's a good performance from him. In regards to Ahmed, I really enjoyed the emotional restraint Dar Salim displays, because this is a man who is trying to keep a low profile and keep his family safe. Obviously, when he is allowed, bursts of emotion, he does it so well. Honestly, these two are a great pairing, and it makes the film just so riveting to watch, and you have something to be invested in. And I also really liked as well that they explored that these two have surprisingly common ground and they do have a mutual understanding. The character development of these two is handled really well. There are other great performances here, don't get me wrong. Anthony Starr, yes, Homelander, is really good in a small role, as are Alexander Ludwig and Johnny Lee Miller. Not everyone gets particularly great material to work with though. Emily Beecham as John's wife is, stuck in the usual thankless role you'd expect from this type of film, and don't get me wrong, her performance is fine. Like, and there is a scene she shares with Jake Gyllenhaal. She sells really well, but you can tell the film doesn't have a lot for her to do. In saying that though, the character work here by and large is incredibly strong. The film also delivers on the action scenes, and this is where Guy Ritchie's restraint works really well. Instead of the usual rapid fire cuts that you'd expect from a Guy Ritchie action scene, he lets shots breathe and allows the viewer to clearly see what's going on, and gives it that bit of tension because we were clearly following these characters, so a bit more on edge as to whether they come out okay or not. In regards to the technical aspects as well, the film is incredibly strong. The cinematography looks really good. Obviously, capturing this sort of grey Afghan terrain was a surprising level of vibrance as as the sun contrasts really nicely with the quite murky, muddy terrain. And also the score is really good as well from Chris Benstead, and making some really good use of like sitar notes, but not in a way that just sort of like immediately screams, "Hey, look, we're in the Middle East," but rather in a way that feels, very naturally and organically fitting with the film's setting. And at the end of the day, the film feels surprisingly critical of the American military and its treatment of the interpreters. Although obviously, don't get me wrong, it's still very much favorable towards the U.S. military, but it's refreshing that a film like this takes its time to sort of stop and think critically about what it's portraying on screen. Obviously, don't get me wrong, towards the end, it does become kind of quite obvious what direction it's gonna head in, and does kind of lose the really strong character work of the first two-thirds. But in saying that, the final act of this film is still very entertaining to watch, and it does deliver a satisfying end that will leave you with a smile on your face. And yeah, those are my thoughts on Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I really, really enjoyed this. I'd say this is actually one of my favorite films of his, and overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you seen The Covenant? What did you think of it? Would you like to see Guy Ritchie make more films like this? Because obviously we've got the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare coming out next year. Also, let me know, what's your favourite Guy Ritchie film? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.